I used to sit at my kitchen table every day dreaming about this exact moment.
Oh my God.
Shooting for one of my all-time favorite companies. So how did I get to the point where I'm working with one of the most well-respected brands in the world, doing exactly what I love, and getting paid to do it? Well, that's what I finally want to share with you.
Down by the river, in a valley near the mountain, there's a little red house with a chimney fire and an old dirt road. That's my home.
My life changed in the summer of 2013 when my best friend, who I call my brother, decided he was going to move out to Jackson Hole, Wyoming to be a ski instructor. He asked if I wanted to drive out with him, and I was like, yes, of course. This is like our childhood adventure dreams coming true. We had never done anything like this before, and we had 2 weeks to get to San Francisco, where I would hop on a plane to get back. We made a little vlog-type video series the whole way, before we even knew what a vlog was. And we realized that this feeling of adventure we were capturing, this was some inspiring stuff.
What are you waiting for? Until you're 30 years old with a wife and kids and endless commitments?
We wanted to share this feeling of freedom with other people. I still remember that sunset on the coast of Oregon. It was one of the first times in my life that I felt like I was living in a scene from a movie.
This isn't life. This is a dream.
After I returned from that trip, I met an amazing girl in college where I got my degree in creative advertising. And I lived with her in Minnesota for a while and worked at her father's company. I invested the money I earned in the summer of 2014 into some sweet camera equipment, and my brother, girlfriend, and I made a little short film, kind of just for practice.
Can I help you?
Max?
I'm Max.
Timothy, pal. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Tim.
That was when I knew that filmmaking was my true love. A combination of story, characters, music, angles, techniques, raw sounds. There's just so much that goes into making a good movie, it's hard to imagine.
And on the hillside, I saw his blue suitcase. Inside was my first book of stories I ever wrote from when I was a kid. I don't know how he could have possibly had that. My only guess is that he might have been an angel.
Shortly after we made that, in the fall of 2014, I broke up with my girlfriend and drove south from Minneapolis to St. Louis and bought a 2001 Land Rover Discovery. I went back home to pack and then left across country again. This time I was trying to start a little outdoor media company that I called XAD, which stood for Explore and Adventure. And this was when I got my first drone, a DJI Phantom 2 with a GoPro attached to it. No first-person view or anything. You were pretty much just flying blind, hoping you got good shots. So keeping the car in the frame for this shot was like one of the first times I was like, wow, I think I can do this stuff. So it ended up that my bro, Simon, couldn't come with me for the rest of the trip and to do XAD in general. So I basically just drove around the Southwest for a month or so after and worked on a film called Fear.
Some say fear is a state of mind. I say fear is like winter. It comes for all of us, but it affects each of us differently. Whether you move somewhere warm.
In the process of making this film, I lost 2 drones in Canyonlands National Park. I blew out the airbag suspension in my Rover while I was in the Moab, and then my alternator blew up on me and I was stranded somewhere in the middle of Arizona for like a week while it got fixed. This was when I started to learn that things never go as planned. but that every hardship you encounter helps build your character and gives you experiences that you can learn from. Then, after I got back from that trip, I spent the winter looking for a job, and I finally landed one in early 2015 as a cameraman for a local news station. One of the coolest but most stressful jobs I've ever had. This was when I started making vlogs, just as a way to keep my video editing skills sharp while I made some money. I got to work with hot news anchor chicks, and then I would go out on the night shifts where I would drive around all night from murder scenes to house fires, and sometimes I would be the first person on the scene. Pretty scary stuff for a little white boy to be carrying around a $20,000 camera in the middle of the night in Springfield, Massachusetts, which isn't really known for being a good area. One day while working with my friend Dave, I was writing down some ideas in a notebook and came up with the name Trout and Coffee. I was like, this could be a personal brand or something. I don't know. I just liked the words together. I didn't know until just recently that it would be great for like my YouTube channel, kind of like my production brand, like Pixar or whatever, you know? I eventually quit the underpaying news job, and I used my last paycheck to set out on my ultimate mission. Make my own movie from start to finish.
What makes you stand out is how deeply you believe in your dream.
If you follow the river far enough, through the bends and winds, and between two hills, you'll find a little red house.
Writing the story, building and designing the characters, filming everything on my own, and challenging to myself to do it in sections, releasing an episode every Sunday. This was the biggest challenge I had ever had in my life. And it was all just because I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it.
My, you have grown, haven't you, Finn?
I'm sorry, do I know you? My name is Todd. I'm here to help you on your journey. What journey?
It was kind of a story about myself playing a character named Finn, who wanted to chase his dream of traveling the country and photographing and telling stories. He was guided by a mysterious wizard-like character named Todd, and met many other characters and challenges along the way, each offering their own unique lessons. This is where I was able to really let everything I love shine through. Writing stories, acting, setting locations, making music, and working with sights and sounds to evoke an emotion from the viewer. I was able to really hone in on my drone shooting and my camera work in general, and learned how much work can go into even the shortest scene.
Oh, Dad, oh, Dad, oh, Dad, won't you spare me over another But what is this that
You and I gotta have a talk, kid.
Sometimes you have to face your biggest fears head on.
All right. Let's talk. So why haven't you cashed a check yet, Finn? I'm not gonna cash it, Ricky. I threw it off the Oregon coast. What are you, stupid? You threw away $1 million check? Finn, you gotta understand. This isn't up to you anymore. You're working for me. And you're gonna make me a lot of money. I'm not gonna work for you. And I'm not selling you anything. There's nothing you can do to make me. Oh, we'll see about that.
You leave Finn alone!
Oh, you brought your friends, huh? What are you gonna do, raccoon boy? Is that all you got, Finn? Send your raccoon buddy after me?
Ricky, run!
Todd?
This ends now!
Dressing up as 4 different characters, all the different angles, writing the scripts for the conversations, trying to match up all the audio files. A scene that took over 2 hours to film ends up getting compressed down to about 2 minutes. This was also when I stopped back in Minnesota to work with my ex-girlfriend's uncle to record some of my music. I released my song, Have You Listened, with a music video as part of this movie. In total, I was gone for about 2.5 months, and I drove around 13,000 miles. But I did it. I created an entire full-length movie by myself, one of the greatest personal accomplishments I've ever achieved. And then a few months after I got home, I built my first recording studio. I started working for this marinara sauce brand that I had been on and off with since high school. The boredom drove me to make absurd Snapchats all day long at work.
I broke into the equipment shed. You're not gonna believe what I found. It's got a scooter thing. So freaking sick.
And then one day while driving around during my break, I found an empty A-frame right in my hometown that was used for summer camps. I started bringing my things there and hanging out during the afternoons and weekends. It gave me an indescribable feeling that has never left. I posted a picture of the place and it got like 14,000 likes. This was back when I had around 20,000 followers, so it was a huge deal. I knew that this was something special. Shortly after that, I flew out to Minnesota again to do some video work and record a few more songs. When I returned, I quit my job at the marinara sauce place because I knew I could do camera work full-time if I put my heart into it. Then that summer, my life changed. I was working with clients full-time. I wasn't making much money, just enough to survive. But I didn't have a boss and I was doing what I loved every single day. My Instagram following was growing like crazy. More and more people were reaching out, and I was putting out content that made my soul feel complete. Building scenes I saw in my head when I was a kid and bringing them to life. Sharing textures and colors and feelings that I wanted everyone else to be able to experience. Everything was starting to click. Then fall came, and I headed out to Minnesota once again with my friend Mitch to work on some more music. It was on this trip that we started staying in really cool cabins just for fun. They're great sources of inspiration, and for me, I see different stories and characters in my head in each different setting. When we got to Minnesota, I recorded the songs that are on this channel now. I'm still working on putting together a full album, and it'll hopefully be done in 2017. Also during that fall, Mitch and I turned my attic into a creative studio.
So that pretty much brings us back to the Land Rover gig. It was an amazing partnership with a great brand, and definitely something that I want to keep alive. I kind of skimmed over a lot of the little details in the story, just because I wanted to keep it moving. And I figure that as I continue to put out these videos, all the little details will come to light on their own. I do want to make sure that I get to all your comments and your DMs and everything, and I want to be able to give you guys advice consistently. I want the Trout and Coffee YouTube to be a place where you can come at any time to get entertained. Whether you're laying in your bed and you can't fall asleep, or you're just bored at work, it's a place where you can come and be immersed in a feeling of peace and adventure. If you hit subscribe, you'll be updated or alerted anytime that there's a new song, a new video, a new skit, or a new adventure in general. So here we are. It's the end of winter in the Berkshires. Everything's dead, and it kind of sucks. January to March was pretty challenging for me to deliver to my clients. But we made it out, and spring's right around the corner. So excited. There's a feeling you get, it's in the air. Everything's gonna turn green soon, and it's gonna be back to normal, and we're gonna be outside. It's gonna be amazing. And in the meantime, I'm actually leaving for Jackson Hole tomorrow to meet up with Simon. Gonna be running around the Tetons for a couple weeks. And you can rest assured that you'll be able to watch everything we do right here. So welcome to Trout and Coffee. I'll be your host.